Josh's 8th birthday and gave it to him at his party with his friends. So I started with a 30-pound tank and thought the proportions of that looked pretty close to R2D2 after I'd spent a lot of time thinking how to make a wood stove. I've seen lots of people make wood stoves out of propane tanks, so I cut a door into here, and before I completed the cuts, I welded the hinges on, and you can see my welds aren't perfect, but I used my old welder that I just bought, and it's a stick welder and not bad. I hardly ever weld. It's been 15 years since I've done a little bit of welding, and so you can see the had a bit of a bow there in the door, and I took a lot of work to bend that out and heat it and bend it and heat it and bend it, and so you can see the proportions there side by side. The tank's a little taller and not quite the right shape on the head, but yeah, it's good enough. So I spent lots of time looking at reference photos. R2D2 is very detailed, and I had to draw a line in between lots of detail, money, and tools that I don't have versus what I had laying around the shop, and the limited amount of tools that I have that for metalworking. So anyways, I started using wood for the legs and built them up based on what I could see in the photos and what I had laying around the shop and the tools that I had to use around the shop. So you can see how I just started progressing and measuring and adding to the legs and measuring the compound miters by hand and just kind of eyeballing them and then cutting them to get the right shape that I wanted. Just lots of time and patience, and built a 2x4 around the bottom part there, notched it out at the table saw, and then cut it out. PVC pipe around some doweling for the struts on the legs. Tested the legs on there to see how the fit was and proportions. So a lot of grinding. There you can see the hinge I welded on the inside of that top door. It's kind of like a secret door in the head, but to access that area in the head. And I built a hidden latch on the inside of the head, kind of like a barrel bolt. You'll see here in a second. And so it's pretty much flush on the outside. There you can see I did some hand grind. And here you can see one of the round shelves. I used just a nail in the center and a router bit in the table. Made all my shelves for inside there. As the legs progressing there, kind of mocking it all up. On to priming all the legs, and here's priming the tank. Lots of hours painting. This piece I built for the radar eye out of the sheet metal from a computer tower. Just hacked it up and started cutting. Started masking the paint here for the first coat. Lots and lots of masking. Spent hours masking. So I used a little bit of my plotter, but most of it I used just hand masking there. So the blue layer on top of the white. See just the different layers. And here's the LED lights. I spent hours soldering 4 little connectors on each piece and a wire in between. And then hand did all the last section up in the head, so the colors were opposite of what you're picking. So you always had a red light there in the top and a white lights. 4 or 3 separate lights in the eye there. That's always white. So just some red, green, blue lights that I ordered off of eBay. But it was coming together.